Hi, family, friends, business partners, whatever you may be. I get messages every day almost. David, what happened to you? Where have you been? It's been about a year, and maybe I've posted online like a handful of times. And for somebody that owns a social media marketing business, that seems odd, especially how active I was before. My name is David Beltz. Some of you may know me as David Breedlove. I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a father. I wanted to give an explanation as to why I've been so silent and what I've been going through. And the reason I'm doing this is not because I want pity or I want people, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I began using about a year ago again after almost 8 years of joy, a joyful life. I'm not exactly sure what brought it on, maybe it was complacency, maybe it was something like that. But it was hard for me to continue carrying the message of being ethical when I wasn't myself. So I began to isolate, not talk to people. Because when you spend 8 years turning your life around, it's really hard facing the reality of what you're doing, I didn't get arrested or anything like that, but CPS came into my life maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. And, I'm pretty well versed on, what my rights are. I knew that all the allegations against me were false, other than possible drug use, but being domestically violent, being physically abusive, being, neglecting, not that I wasn't the father I used to be, by definition of neglect, I wasn't that as well. I was still very much in my kid's life, making sure that I was providing for them and all that, but not that makes what I was doing okay. Not to my moral standard, at least. But when they came to my house, I invoked my Fifth Amendment right, said I wanted a court order, and I expected that to be the end of it until I got my court order. And that wasn't. They began to put the pressure on me. They began to call family members, tell them I was using, and that's the reason that I wasn't cooperating, and spreading lies about me, and because I was using, it put me in a real dark spot, and I overdosed. After that, they took emergency custody of the girls, and we had some requirements to do. One of them, for me, after some manipulation from my caseworker, was to go to rehab, per an intake assessment. Now, since that was an assessment, and that was what they were requesting me to do, I was in compliance. while at rehab, they went to my adjudication hearing and pretended like they didn't know where I was. And they returned the girls home to my ex on the contingency that I'm not allowed home. For the past 3 months, I was sleeping in my car, hoping any day they would say, hey, you can go home now. But they kept telling me I can't go home until I had successful visits. And they didn't give me a single visit for 3 months. I was supposed to get weekly visits. It was very painful. I stayed in hotels when I could. Occasionally Jess would let me stay at the house. A lot of times she would until, I'd get upset or whatever would happen, and I would get thrown out, and it was just a bad situation because I had nowhere to go. I wanted to be close to my girls, so I'd sleep in my car wherever I could, and I would work on my computer building the systems for the business in my car at like truck stops, stuff like that, because I couldn't afford to pay for hotels every night, thinking maybe they'll let me come home tomorrow, the next day, the day after that. 3 months, because I agreed to go to rehab, which is what they wanted me to do. Second I was out of the house, they made it so that I couldn't go home, or else they would take the girls. They used my kids as pawns against me. Disgusting, deplorable. Abuse of power and abuse of rights. Now, they gave me a public defender. Public defender told me to shut up in court. That when I asked if she would verify facts that were being said, and asked for documentation of evidence that they were saying happened, but they were not required to show any evidence. They never produced a court order saying that I couldn't go home, but they just said that they had one. Never written down, never executed, and I was never served it. Just can't go home. Nah, boo-boo. Tough shit. I was told I could have a updated court hearing by the master of the court, of the juvenile court system. I requested it for 2 months so that I could try and go home. Never gave it to me. Never even replied back to my lawyer. On the 13th of October, I go back to court. I've officially got my full custody rights restored. But now, my ex is just not allowing me to see them. For whatever reason, I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's not why I'm making this. I'm doing well now. I'm working for a rehab facility. I'm around recovering people every day. I'm around great people every day that have my best interests at heart. And I'm working more. I'm coming back out of my shell again and becoming myself again. The reason I'm making this is because I need your support. If over the past 8 years or ever, I've touched your life in any way that was positive, helped you, gave to you, changed your perspective, allowed you to love more, give more, be more. If you could please return that favor to me by writing a letter to Northampton Children and Youth, CPS, in Easton, Pennsylvania, as soon as possible, so that these things are in by the time I go to court. I'll be eternally grateful to you. And if you request the address or whatever, I would prefer if they go to Megan Mallow. She's my caseworker. She's actually really great. I fought so hard to get rid of this old caseworker that I had that just raped me of my rights. Not just my civil, my parent. Not just my civil, my parental. My HIPAA. They took my dignity. They defamed my character with no evidence ever produced that I was physically abusive, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive. Never once did they present any evidence against me. Ever. And they just took everything from me because I told them, I have rights and I expect you to do your jobs. If you have a case against me, present it. And they didn't like that. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying I was doing the right thing the whole time. I wasn't. I was in a bad place. But they didn't try and reunify my family. Paige McConnell, who was my original caseworker, when I got out of rehab and I found out I was homeless because of some verbal court order that wasn't written down, that nobody's allowed to see what the actual terms of are, I asked her, when's the reunification of the family happen? And she said to me, David, I want to make it very clear to you. The reunification of the family has already happened. And you can't go home until CPS says that you can. A 24-year-old with 2 kids under the age of 2, with a 2-year degree, and who knows what, said that to me because I wanted to see my child after I went to rehab because they requested I did. Here's the good news, though. Nobody believed in me when I started marketing. Not a single goddamn person except for my mom, my dad, and my sister. They didn't understand what I was doing, but nobody believed in me. And now I have some of the best people in my life. I'm not just talking about where I'm at now. I'm talking about all of you. Follow me, who've supported my businesses, who I've taught, who I've learned from. I told them today, I officially represent myself because I can do a better job than any lawyer that they're going to put in front of me. And once I go against them and I get this case closed, I'm going after them civilly and criminally. But for right now, I just needed them to know that I'm a force to be reckoned with. And if you could do me this favor and confirm with me that you sent that, I will handwrite you a thank you note. Wherever you are in the world. And I will mail it out. From me personally. Expressing my gratitude. This was a horrible situation. I'm not going to admit that, or not going to not admit that I played a role in the reason it happened. But if you think that this can't happen to you, you're dead wrong. And I'm going to stop at nothing to make sure that this is exposed and something's done about it. And as some dude that had no marketing experience 4 years ago now owns a marketing company that just crossed $250,000 in sales in the past 2 years, can do that with no support, with your support, it's a slam dunk. If you need the details, reach out to me, comment, whatever. I'll reach out to you personally. The time's of the essence. This court hearing is on October 13th, and these letters need to be in, and if you're so willing to do that for me. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Many of you have already touched my life. I don't have to say return the favor or anything like that. I love you guys. Thanks for watching.